The riots became more intense after US President Donald Trump insisted on sending the army to stop the protest after the killing of George Floyd. According to Reuters, law enforcement officers cleared the way for Donald Trump to go to church by using rubber bullets and tear gas on protesters. According to the report, the protest intensified after Donald Trump's statement to send troops and riots broke out in the White House's Rose Garden on the 7th day. Protesters set fire to a shopping mall in Los Angeles and loot stores in New York City. The US president said in his statement that mayors and governors should establish strict rule of law until the end of the tension. He said, if a city or state refuses to take necessary measures to protect the lives and property of citizens, then the US Army will be deployed and their problems will be resolved immediately. After Donald Trump issued the statement, he reached St. John's Church from the route which was cleared by police. He picked up a Bible and posed for pictures with his daughter Ivanka and US Attorney General William Barr. Bishop Michael Curry of a church based in Washington, D.C., also criticized Trump for using a historical church to take images. Bishop Michael Curry said in his statement on Twitter, US President stood in front of St. John's Church, raised the Bible and took his pictures, thus he used the church building and the Bible for political purposes. The historical church also suffered minor damage during the protest last day. The forces deployed against the protesters in the White House include the Military Police, National Guard, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security Police and Columbia District Police. A statement from the White House said that the area had been vacated after the curfew was imposed. After Washington riots, thousands of protesters marched into streets of Brooklyn and chanted "Justice Now," while several civilians traveling in vehicles also supported them. In a viral video, it can be seen that windows were broken at 5th Avenue in Manhattan just before the time of the night curfew began and expensive items were looted. Footage received from Hollywood also shows looting by protesters in a medical store where the store's doors and windows have been broken. Before the protesters allegedly damaged 2 restaurants, the police reached the spot and foiled it. In the American state of Minnesota, the protest started last week after the death of George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, by police, and later on the riots escalated, which continues. Another autopsy was demanded by the family of George Floyd, whose report has also been issued. The second report confirmed that he died of suffocation, and 3 officers assisted in his murder. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner also issued his report and also confirmed that George Floyd's death cause was asphyxiation. The county report said George Floyd also had a heart attack in police custody. Derek Chauvin, a white police officer involved in the murder of George Floyd, was arrested and a third-degree murder case was registered against him. Derek Chauvin is one of the 4 officers who were fired after the video went viral and filed a third-degree murder case against him. Derek Chauvin was the only one who hit a knee full of power on George Floyd's neck for 5 minutes, causing the George Floyd to die.